What makes China and America so vastly different from each other? We hear stereotypes about Americans being over-aggressive, lazy, or even rude, whereas we hear stereotypes about Chinese people being too formal or strict. China is vastly different from the United States when it comes to values, culture, and specifically communication. America is considered a high context culture because we rely on direct statements when we communicate with each other. We rely on talking a lot more, whereas China relies on nonverbal language when they communicate, and that is considered a low context culture. Here is a graph that I have on my slideshow that helped me really understand. I wish that I didn't have to use a computer because it's very awkward, but America is an individualistic culture, which means we take all of the success and give it and honor ourselves with it. And then when it comes to failures, we take all of the blame. We put a lot of focus on our accomplishments and how we did them, and our goals, and how we did them ourselves. A passage I read from the volume 2010 Proceedings of the New York State Communication Association, which was written by Yu Lee. She wraps up America's individualistic culture by noting that our slogan is, "Be the best you can be." China is more so a collectivist culture. When one person in the family earns a good amount of wealth, they are expected to share it with the whole family. When their parents get older and may need help with daily things, they usually will take them in and have them live with them. Whereas in America, we aren't really expected to do that. We have choices. We can send our parents to nursing homes, we can send our parents to retirement homes, and whatnot. When it comes to the way we talk to each other, we are much more aggressive, and we talk a lot more rather than in China, where they focus a lot on the nonverbal communication. In China, being silent can be considered being respectful. In classes, students are usually do not talk a lot because it could be considered rude to the superior. They don't do much group activities, and they usually are usually quiet. Yep. Whereas in America, we are constantly talking. We're constantly, raising our hands, communicating, not really doing that as much in school as quiet. We would consider being quiet as maybe even being rude because you're not communicating with the person. Here is a image that really shows with the collectivist versus individualistic. In America, being aggressive means you're powerful. It means that you may be successful and you can use your aggressiveness to get, more money or more, just more of anything because you're aggressive, so you get what you want. According to the International Business Seminars, aggressiveness in business leaders in China shut down and retreat when they are way too aggressive, whereas in America, it's the opposite. We don't shut people down when they're aggressive because we're usually in shock or impressed, whereas in China, it's not shocking or impressive to be so aggressive. Being more reserved and really thinking about what you are going to say is a lot more respected in China. Whereas in America, we are free with everything. We have our our Twitter and our social media. We use that a lot more than people in China do, And I think it has to do with the history of America and our freedom. It's our right to be opinionated. It's our right to say whatever we want because it's in the law. Whereas in China, they don't see it as that. They're much more humble, and it's much more valuable to be humble. This is an image of two men. It has to do with the business arrangement. So overall, these two are much different. They're a lot different, and it really shows when you really think about the stereotypes. Although they are stereotypes, they do relate to what the communication styles actually are.